guy's got it, right? He's good. And people, I think, the whole time have been like, he's good. He's very good. Can he be great? And when a young player is good, very good, you're thinking he's maybe trending toward great. But it never happened. Dak Prescott's never been a great player. And now it looks like he's regressing. Key, is that accurate? Is he regressing? Is he a strength or a weakness for the Cowboys right now in these playoffs?
I don't think he's regressing. I just think he had a bad couple of games here down the stretch. In particular, the last game against the Commanders was bad, and they lost. They were able to win the other games in spite of him not playing as well as his paycheck would say he should be playing, so to speak. I don't think he's a weakness. I don't necessarily think he's a strength. I think he's just a part of a team that has some ability and some playmakers on it that could potentially make a run in the playoffs, but they first got to get past the Buccaneers. Hopefully I answered that in a way where I gave you something and gave you nothing, Max, so rather than give you nothing.
Here's something I really want to say. As a former athlete, as a guy that deals with a lot of athletes and owners and GMs, I want to see people win, right? I want to see Dak Prescott win. He's a good dude. But when you sign a 4-year, $160 million deal,
which at the time was a lot of money,
I also want you to go back and listen to what Keyshawn Johnson just said. And I think that's the conundrum that we as athletes, we feel, right? When we're critiquing or breaking down other athletes. Because the reality is, he just said, for that contract that I just made mention of, that he's neither a weakness nor a strength. But when you're promoted as being the quarterback of America's team, when people see the upside of saying that 1 year before he got hurt, he was in the MVP conversation, even though they were losing games, you feel like, all right, like you have all the pieces. The team may not be hitting their stride, but at the end of the day, we see quarterbacks who are that top tier carry the load for their team. And we're sitting here talking about Dak being neither a weakness nor a strength, just being an
I think, well,
that's what makes it challenging.
Look at the screen right now if you have ESPNU on. Dak Prescott this season, there's a screen entitled Turnover Bug for those listening on the radio. 15 interceptions, tied with Davis Mills for the most in the NFL this season. But keep in mind, Cooper Rush played a bunch of games and won all but one of them essentially by not turning the ball over, right? So Dak has had fewer games to play.
Dak's played in 12 games this year.
Out of 17, and yet he's tied for the most turnovers in the NFL. Seven consecutive games with an interception. That's the longest since 2004 by a Cowboys player. 3 interceptions returned for TDs. That's tied for the most in the NFL. But Key, the question was when Cooper Rush was winning those games, because he's obviously not as talented as Dak Prescott, the question was, will they keep that blueprint?
Well, they did. They did, Max, for the beginning of when he came back, those first handful of games.
Right, could they be disciplined enough to stay with it?
No, because they get cute, right? It's we could do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
right, that's the temptation.
It's riding a bike. Oh, I could go faster down the hill. I could go down the hill. I don't have to, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit a rock, and then all of a sudden you tumbling and your elbows are scratched up. That's kind of what has happened with the Dallas Cowboys. They had the training wheels on and they felt good, and then they took them off, and then they let him go down the hill, but the brakes on the back wasn't working, only the front brake. And when he pushed it, he fell and he started scratching a little bit of his skin up. That's what's happening with the interceptions.
But I think I know what you're saying, Key, of course. That's very clear. Like the way you put it is very clear. And I agree. But Dak is incapable of playing at the highest level. This is what I'm saying.
I don't think he's incapable.
Put it this way: you could take the training wheels off Justin Herbert; he's going to be just fine. But Patrick Mahomes going to be just fine. Josh Allen just fine. You take him off, Dak,
and nobody's arguing. And nobody's arguing that. Nobody's arguing that. Justin Herbert has been solid his entire time in the National Football League, and has looked the part. He hasn't given you the this dude here, much like Dak Prescott. But a lot comes with Dak. where he was drafted, the amount of money. He plays in Dallas. He has an owner who talks every single day. He wears the star. He's following Troy Aikman and Tony Romo and company. There's a lot that come with playing and being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. If Dak Prescott did the same things that he's been doing for the last 7 years on another team, we're going to look at him totally different than we do at the Dallas Cowboys. Let's just keep it real.
Bill
That's
only
what I'm
has one
saying.
playoff win,
It doesn't matter, though, Max, whether he has one playoff win or 10 playoff wins. We're going to look at him different because of the branding of the situation.
It's how I'm with you, Max. It's how somebody's packaged. He's part of an overall package that gets sold. I've said this before. If Dak Prescott were on another team, we wouldn't be talking about him anywhere as close to as much as we talk about him because he plays for the Cowboys. That's why I asked yesterday. I literally asked. I'm like, is he Kirk Cousins with a better PR machine?
Yeah, a little bigger, a little stronger, a little better
If
arm.
he was in Atlanta doing these same things, we wouldn't even be like, oh, he can't play. They overpaid him. We wouldn't do
it's
that.
not. No, but you're looking at it from the point of view where saying he's overrated. What I'm saying is, to me, to my eye, Dak Prescott's never been an A or an A-. He's been a B+. I think he's better than, like, if you have Dak, you got a quarterback. You know, he's not just a guy. He's a little better than that. But
Look,
he's a little better than that. He's not elite and never has been.
Does Dak Prescott need help from his other players right now where he's at in his career? Yes. Yes, he does. Does CeeDee Lamb have to help him and Zeke and Pollard and company? Yes, they have to help him. There's no question about it for the Dallas Cowboys to be that team of destiny, so to speak, that'll be playing in Arizona. He can't do it by himself. He doesn't have what a handful of quarterbacks in the history of this game has had, which is, okay, no matter what, I'm getting ready to lead the charge. He's not Joe Montana. It's just not, it's not that.
Yep.
So let's stop trying to make him something that he's not and look at his strengths
but I think
and what he's capable of doing.
The conversation here, Key, I think, which is new, is that a year ago you might have said, and you did say, he has his foot like Derek Carr, like one in each bucket, the top bucket and the other bucket. I think
he all the way in the number 2 bucket.
He's now in the number 2 bucket.
He got a chair.
He's got a chair.
He's sitting in the chair reading the newspaper in the bucket.
But it's toward the top of that bucket. You think he's in the middle of the number 2 bucket?
Let me ask you about a bucket this year that you've seen thus far. So you said Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, same thing, right? And it's panned out. It's panned out that way. You called it. Geno Smith, Dak Prescott. Who are you going to take this year?
This year?
I'm still gonna take Dak Prescott. I'm still taking
Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott.
That's where the conversation is going with Dak.
Still taking Dak Prescott.
I think I'd take Daniel Jones.
I think the Geno Smith, Dak Prescott thing is interesting.
Daniel Jones don't turn it over.
The fact that we're even having a conversation.
No, Daniel Jones does turn it over. He just hasn't
turn it over this
year.
The fact that you have to think about that, Key. A year ago, you would not even have to think about that. Not even close.
Well, that's partly. But Jay, that's partly because of where Geno went up.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point, though.
Yeah, but Geno went up and Dak slid a little bit. And if you asking me that question, then I'm still taking Dak. I'm taking Dak over a lot. I'm taking Dak over Tua. I'm taking Dak over Kyler Murray. I'm taking Dak over Geno, Daniel Jones. There's a lot of quarterbacks I'm taking Dak over.
Oh, legit. I mean, I don't know if I would take him over all those guys.
I don't know if I would take him over Daniel Jones either right now.
Y'all Giant fans, I'm going to leave that alone.
Well, that's fair. No, it's fair.
I'm going to leave that alone.
If I wasn't a Giants fan, I might not feel that way, but I like my guy.
I just said Geno Smith.
Yeah, but Geno, he's better than Geno Smith, man. I like Geno. Geno deserves an extension.
You can have more talent. It doesn't mean it always translates
Geno's played
to the
better than
field being better.
Geno has played better at
season.
times.
There you go.
Yep.
That's why I said this year. I said this year.
He's made you go, oh, okay. There's a resurgence with his career. So it's
certainly a perception
better.
of the division is different. Like, we look at the Eagles and go, oh, they got Jalen Hurts. Whereas to start the season, it's like, well, the Cowboys got the best quarterback in the division. They're that gives them an advantage. We don't think that anymore. We think, no, actually, the Eagles have an advantage. They got the best quarterback.
To be honest with you, I don't know if I think that, though, Max.
You think that Dak is better than Jalen?
I think that Dak has screwed some stuff up recently over the last several games and through picks. So it makes you go, what the hell? Mm-hmm. But when you look at that division, he may still be the best pure quarterback in the division.
ESPN front office insider Mike Tannenbaum explains why he would draft Bryce Young and trade Justin Fields. He was on our show earlier. But first, Jay has this word from Granger.
You just said that so cool, calm, and collective.